All right, so in my last video, I talked about how I am using a new carry position from the one that I was using in the Modern Lady's Guide to Armed Self-Defense. Previously, I was carrying in the middle of back position, which was working really well for concealment for me. But I have actually switched to the apex position, which is right here. And I'm really excited about that because this means that it's going to be more accessible. I can actually draw a lot faster from this position. And so I want to kind of tell you why, along with that, why I switched to this position. So as I said before, it does make my gun more accessible, which is a really important factor when if you're going to be in a gunfight, which hopefully you never are, but if you are, you can access your weapon more quickly so that you can be more effective in defending yourself and being able to actually put bullets on your target. So that's really important because obviously reaching back here is going to take more time and more effort than just, a quick draw from here. And so that was one reason. But the reason, and I should talk about the reason why I wasn't carrying there before. I mean, if it's a more effective position, why wasn't I using it there before? The reason was because I was not able to conceal there. That was actually the first place that I tried. This is where my husband carries his gun, and I really wanted to. But the problem was it was just printing so bad. It would always show through my shirts, and it would show through my pants, which is an awkward place on a woman for a gun to be showing. But the reason I can now is actually kind of funny. This last year, I actually had twins, and these are my first kids. And so what happened, as many of you women probably know who have kids, is my stomach got a little bit flabbier, I would say. And so it meant that my gun actually sinks into my stomach a little bit more, which makes it so it conceals better. So now, since my stomach is taking up some of that space, when I cover it with my shirt, it actually conceals better. I was so surprised. I hadn't even thought about that until I got a new holster, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But I got a new holster, and when I tried it this way, I was like, I'm just going to try just to see, and I was so surprised at how well it was concealed. I still have the problem with my pants a little bit. It'll show through a bit, but even that wasn't a big deal, especially, I'm wearing light pants for this very reason, to show this. But as you can see, it really, from looking down, it kind of looks like it prints, but if you're looking at it straight on, you can really hardly tell a difference. These are nicer dress pants too, and it's really not much of a problem. You wear a belt and it's practically invisible because that just pushes everything out a little bit for you. And so, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So I hope this will work for more of you women, especially those of you who have had kids. And at least this is one benefit to having the new mom bod, right? So we can carry our weapons more effectively. But some other tips, even if you still just really want to carry in this position, some ways you can do that are getting a little bit baggier pants. You can't really do the skinny jeans if you're going to be carrying in this position. I've gotten away with it a few times, but it's only because the jeans were really dark, so that's one option that you can do, or the shirt was very long and baggier, because then, if the shirt's long enough, you aren't going to have a problem with concealment that way. So that's one way to do it. Wearing darker colors is obviously a great way for concealment, just a little bit baggier, as I've shown in these videos that I've been doing this series. That should be helpful if you use those tips. So some other reasons why I haven't carrying in this position is because with all of that, if you're able to conceal it while standing straight up, a great benefit that I've noticed is that when I bend over, I'm actually more concealed than I am when I'm standing straight. And that's different because when I had it on my back, anytime I would bend over, I was automatically printing. And so that was really nice. And it was a little bit more stressful that way too, because anytime I bent over, I was like, oh, is somebody going to see my gun? Is my shirt going to come up a little bit? I always had to kind of worry about that. And now I don't have to anymore, which is really great. A little less stress that way. I also just kind of like being able to look down and just see my gun. It's just a comforting feeling for me. So you may find that if you're carrying in this position as well. And let's see, I think that's the main reason. Oh, it is a little bit more comfortable for me. I found that may not be the case for you, but just because there's less movement in this particular area than there is in the back, especially with kids bending over all the time, I'm not feeling as much friction, so that makes it a little bit more comfortable. It is a little bit uncomfortable if I bend too far. It's jamming jamming me right in my leg, so that's a bit uncomfortable and a little unnerving too. But of course, as I'm going to show you in a minute, I've got it rigged up in such a way that it's very safe. And so, yeah, so that's the reason why I've switched to this position. Obviously, I'm going to need to do a lot of training to really make sure that I would be comfortable using my gun in a life or death situation. I honestly, at this point, can't say that I am carrying in this position. I would be uncomfortable if I were in a gunfight tomorrow. So it's just time, of course, to just get in my training and practice doing some dry fire shooting to just make sure that I really would be effective if I were in one of those life or death situations. So that just comes with it, but that's okay. You know, if you ever do need to change your carry position, that's fine. You know, you can do what you got to do. You just make sure you practice and make sure your muscle memory is trained for that, and you're good to go. All right, so I wanted to show you my new holster that's working for my new carry position. And you'll notice that this holster really isn't very different from my other one, but there are some key differences here that are making a huge difference for me as far as concealability is concerned and just comfort. This holster is so much more comfortable than my other one. So here's some reasons why. Oh, and before I get started, I do want to let you know that this gun is completely unloaded. I have triple checked it, and so I'm being very safe as I do this demonstration for you. All right, so what I've got is this belly band. It's thinner in both ways. It's a skinnier band than it was before, so it's only taking up a little bit of space, which is great because there's not a lot of room, you know, in my pants to actually have this there. Before, I had my belly band was taking up like my entire abdomen. It was really uncomfortable, especially when I wanted to bend over. With this one, it's not the case. It pretty much just fits right in my waistband, very comfortable, or a little higher if I ever do need to wear like higher, like a dress or something. All right, so, and I like that. I like that it's also thinner this way too. It's just, which really helps with concealability. Just the fact that this fabric is so thin, it's really great at concealing the weapon because it's not pushing my waistband out anymore. And I mean, another complaint that I had with my previous belly band was that it kind of made me look a little fat, and I didn't like that. And that is a problem for women carrying concealed. We don't want it to make us look fatter. That's not good. You want to still be attractive while wearing your gun. And this one, I mean, where the band actually is without my gun, it's like it's not even there. And where my gun is, it's also thinner as well. But that brings me to a problem that I had with this because it's so thin, I noticed that I checked it to see if I could pull the trigger through the fabric where the actual sheath is, and I could. And that's a problem. You don't want to be able to pull the trigger through your holster. That kind of defeats the purpose of a holster. And so I thought, well, okay, that's a problem. What am I going to do about this? So what I did was I got a, as you can see here, I got one of those Kydex trigger guard sheaths. A lot of people will just carry with just that, but that wasn't going to work for me because I wasn't able to keep it on. And so, and it doesn't work for as many outfits either. But so what I did though was I just put it on the gun and then I tied it to the holster, which I'll just take the gun out so you can see. All right, so yeah, so then I put it in, I put the gun in first, unloaded of course, and just to make sure to measure it, to make sure it was the right size, and then I actually just tied it onto the holster. So it's kind of like this makeshift holster, but this way it's a lot more safe. It pulls out just the same as if you were wearing this by itself. So it does, you will have the string kind of coming out with it a little bit. So that's a different feeling. If you're used to pulling your gun straight out of a belly band holster, this will feel a little different because you are going to have a little more resistance, but definitely worth the safety of it. I am not comfortable with having a sheath here that I can pull the trigger through. That's not an effective sheath. So this makes it work. So that's the way I do it. And until they come up with something that works a little better, and I haven't found one yet, this is just the way that we ladies are going to have to do it when it comes to belly bands. So if any of you do know of someone that does sell a belly band like this that actually has a hard side sheath, I would love to hear about it, so you can let me know. But I've scoured the internet and I still haven't found one other than the gun girdle that I was using before. But like I said, that one was so thick and so bulky and uncomfortable that I really needed to come up with something else. And this has been working a lot better for me. So, right, that's all I've got on my new carry position, new holster, and I hope that that's some good information for you as you are trying to come up with ways for concealed carry that will work best for you.